Welcome to Based on True. If you enjoy true relationship stories full of emotional twists and real human decisions, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It really helps the channel. In this story, a husband discovers the shocking truth behind his wife's pregnancy, and what follows is not just a revelation, but a reckoning. What do you do when the person you love not only betrays you, but acts proud of it? Stay tuned. The truth may sting, but justice hits harder.
The first time I discovered my wife lying, it was almost laughable. She stood in the kitchen, browsing through her phone and pretending not to notice me. The aroma of coffee permeated the air, blending with a tiny hint of her expensive perfume that she only used on exceptional occasions. "Hello, babe," she spoke. Scarcely looking up, Mom and I are thinking of taking a brief excursion, just a quick getaway. Some girl time. I leaned against the countertop. "Where to?" She paused. Something flickered across her face so quickly that if I hadn't been paying attention, I would have missed it. "Just a resort, nothing insane." She waved her hand as if it was no big thing. "Mom has been stressed, and I thought we could use some sun." I should have asked more questions. Should have picked up on her tone. Her voice was a little too casual, and she didn't meet my gaze, but I did not. I simply nodded, because why would I question my wife? 2 weeks later, Jessica and her mother Linda were on their peaceful vacation, like an idiot. I kissed her farewell at the airport. Not realizing I was kissing a lie, they returned on a Sunday afternoon. Jessica barely made it through the door before dropping her suitcase and running straight to the shower. Linda was not far behind, saying something about needing to wash the journey off. I recall standing in the living room, watching them race upstairs as they were fleeing from something. It was not typical. Then came the doctor's appointment. "We just want to be checked out," Jessica responded when I inquired about it, you know. "Routine things travel screws up your system?" Linda chimed in from the couch, flipping through a magazine as if she weren't hiding anything. "Yes, honey. We always do this after our trips. Not a big deal." I turned to my father-in-law. Rick, he was eyeing them in the same manner. I felt like a man who smelled smoke but couldn't find the fire. "Do you want to come with us?" he inquired too nonchalantly. Jessica froze. Linda's laughter was forced. "Oh, please. Men in a gynecological office. What a sight." Jessica attempted to move past me, snatching her purse. "We will be back soon." Rick and I exchanged looks before following them without saying anything further. The clinic was one of those beautiful, deep, glass-walled buildings where everything smelled of cleanliness and money. Jessica and Linda retreated into an exam room, leaving Rick and me outside, looking through out-of-date magazines and pretending we weren't both suspicious as hell. Then the doctor walked out, and we heard it. A nurse asked him in hushed tones, and he sighed before answering loud enough for everyone in the corridor to hear, given the circumstances surrounding conception. "We will need to conduct additional tests." Rick and I sat up simultaneously. I felt a chill go through my veins, a sluggish, creeping terror wrapped around my ribcage. Jessica and Linda were still indoors. They had no idea we had just heard those words. Conception. What on earth did he mean by conception? Rick and I locked gazes. The weight of that single word settled between us like a loaded rifle on the table. My mind was already racing ahead, trying to rationalize and mend what I just heard. Maybe there was an error. Perhaps the doctor was talking about another patient. Then the examination room door opened. Jessica walked out first. Fixing the sleeve of her blouse, her look was unreadable. But Linda appeared pale, as if someone had knocked the wind out of her, for the first time since they'd returned. She truly appeared nervous. They didn't expect us to be standing there. I'll never forget Jessica's forced smile, the way her lips opened, slightly in surprise before she caught herself. "What are you all doing here?" she inquired, her tone too casual. Rick responded before I could. "Waiting," Linda chuckled. "But it was hollow, oh Rick. Don't tell me you're being an overprotective husband on me. We simply had a few checkups." I ignored her. My focus was on Jessica. What kind of examination? My own voice astonished me. It was steady, cold, Jessica curled her fingers around her purse strap, just the regular. Blood work. The journey left me a little dehydrated. She was lying. I could hear it in the odd rhythm of her speech. See it in the way she avoided my look. Rick breathed hard beside me. That's strange, he replied, his voice full of contempt. We just overheard your doctor mention something about conception. Their simultaneous stiffening. That was the moment I realized something was extremely wrong. Jessica laughed. A dry sound. Wow, okay. Is someone listening in now? That is classy. Linda jumped in and waved her hand. You must have heard doctors converse about a variety of topics. But now Rick was getting closer to his wife. So if I asked the doctor what he meant, he'll tell me what you just said? Linda's jaw clenched. Jessica immediately appeared enraged. Not afraid, not guilty, pissed. Oh my God. Are you really making a scene right now? She snapped. We just returned from a trip. We are fatigued. So now you're accusing me of what? Being pregnant? Do I look pregnant to you? She folded her arms, changing her entire stance into defensive mode. She was doubling down. She fought back. She fought back. And for a second, just a second, I felt the ground fall beneath me. What if I misheard? What if I created something out of nothing? But then Rick said something that demolished whatever uncertainty I had. I'm not stupid, Linda, he muttered, his voice low and shaking with repressed anger. Tell me now, are you covering for her? Linda did not speak. She didn't have to. The way she tilted her head away and how her throat bobbed as she swallowed. Deeply, that was the answer. And that's all I needed. Jessica was still yelling, still trying to make this into a huge theatrical act in which she was the victim. But I stopped listening. I was looking. And my wife, the woman I had made a life with, realizing in real time that I didn't recognize her at all, I took a slow stride forward. She stopped talking, and I quietly questioned her. Jessica, whose baby is this? Her face lost its color. Jessica blinked. For the first time since the whole ordeal began, she seemed truly disoriented, like she hadn't expected me to cut right through her charade. Excuse me? She said, her tone sharp and defensive. I did not blink. I did not move. I simply let the question hang in the air between us. Whose baby is this? Linda shifted uneasily. She cast a quick glance at her daughter, but Jessica didn't glance at her. She looked at me, and in that instant, I saw it, the calculation in her eyes, the gears moving. She had two choices: continue lying, dig in, try gaslighting her way out of this, or admit it and pray for damage control. She selected option one. Wow, she scoffed and shook her head. You're genuinely insane. Seriously. What is wrong with you? I just returned from a trip, and you're standing in a doctor's office accusing me of being pregnant with someone else's child. I did not flinch. Rick remained motionless beside me. His hands clenched so hard that his knuckles were white. Linda, on the other hand, fidgeted and wrung her hands as if she wanted to say something but couldn't. I took a slow breath, my voice quiet and controlled. I will ask one more time. Whose baby is it? Jessica scoffed again. Oh my God, you are mad. And then Rick snapped, Stop lying, Jessica. His voice echoed down the hallway, frightening a passing nurse. Linda gave a gasp. Jessica flinched. I'd never seen my father-in-law lose his temper before. But suddenly his entire face was flushed. His chest heaving with barely restrained fury, he turned to face his wife. You knew, didn't you? He hissed, his voice lowering to a murderous growl. You knew the whole time. Linda gulped hard. Tears welled in her eyes. But before she could respond, Jessica burst. Oh, for God's sake. She screamed, raising her hands. Fine. Do you want to know? Do you truly want to know? She turned to me, her eyes filled with rage. This is not yours. 3 words, only 3 small words, and my world collapsed. My ears began ringing. My pulse slammed into my skull. I heard a loud roar in my brain. I knew it. I knew it as soon as I heard the doctor. But hearing my wife utter, That with her own tongue? Full of hate and malice, was like being shot in the chest. I opened my mouth, but no sound emerged. Jessica rolled her eyes. "Oh. Don't look so shocked," she yelled. "You wanted the truth, there it is. Are you happy right now?" Rick took a step toward her. "Who?" His voice sounded dangerously low. "Who's the father?" She laughed briefly and without amusement. "Like I'm going to tell you that." And that's when something inside me snapped. I'd spent years loving this woman, providing for her and creating a life with her, and now she stood there, not just acknowledging her betrayal, but ridiculing me for it. I clenched my jaw, my voice trembling with wrath. She smirked. Long enough, that was the moment. I realized our marriage was over, but I had no idea, and neither did anyone else. The biggest surprise was still on the way, because we heard it. Right as Jessica was ready to speak again, a voice came from behind us, a man's voice. "I think it's time to quit pretending." We all turned at the same time, and there he stood, calm as ever, someone I never expected. When I saw him, my stomach fell. Mark, my best friend, stood there with his arms crossed, unaffected by the commotion happening in front of him. Jessica's attention moved to him for half a second, just enough time for me to notice the absolute panic in her eyes before she concealed it with rage. Unfortunately, it was too late. That short second revealed everything. Rick stiffened beside me. His breath came out in rapid bursts, as if he was struggling not to lose it all. Linda, her face paled, and her hand shot up to cover her mouth. And Jessica, she didn't say anything. Mark stepped forward. "Come to peace," his dark eyes fixed on mine. And I think I detected the smallest grin. "I believe we should communicate," he said effortlessly. I could feel my own pulse in my throat. My best friend, the guy who had attended our wedding, the man who took my newborn son in his arms and told me he was proud of me. I had put my complete trust in him. I took a step toward him. My hands tightened so tightly that my nails dug into my palms. "Tell me you were joking," I said, barely above a whisper. Jessica let out a loud, frustrated sigh and rolled her eyes. She mumbled, "Oh, for God's sake, can't we do this here? This is quite dramatic." Rick turned to her so quickly, it was as if he had been shot from a cannon. "You cannot speak at this time," he growled. Jessica actually flinched. Mark, on the other hand, did not even blink. He only cocked his head slightly, as if the whole situation was a minor nuisance. "We should go somewhere private," he repeated, as if he believed he had any influence over the issue. I snapped, "Tell the truth, Mark." My voice boomed along the corridor. A nurse walking by paused mid-step, staring at us with wide eyes. Before hurrying away, Jessica moaned again and rubbed her temples. "Oh my God, calm down. You are embarrassing yourself." I turned around to face her. "I am embarrassing myself." My voice cracked. Rage and devastation clashed in my throat. She genuinely smirked, as if this was simply a minor Poirot that I was overreacting over. Rick was staring at Mark, his expression unreadable. "You," he spoke slowly. His voice seemed weirdly calm. "You made my daughter pregnant, Mark." Breathed through his nostrils and looked squarely at me. "Suppose we should sit down? Sit down?" I laughed briefly, without humor. "You can't tell me what to do right now." He nodded as if he accepted it. Then he turned back to Rick. "It wasn't intended to happen like this." Jessica moaned, "Oh my God, can we avoid the dramatic speeches?" She folded her arms and leaned against the wall, as if this was boring her. I was going to get sick. Rick made a cautious, controlled stride toward Mark. "How long?" His voice sounded low, dangerous. Mark eventually dropped. The act at least a bit his shoulders tightened, his jaw clenched. Jessica responded for him. 2 years, she spoke lightly. Everything ceased. I felt woozy for a second. Rick's face became absolutely blank. Linda took a sharp breath, as did Mark. He simply stared at the floor. 2 years. Years of lies, 2 years of treachery. My wife spent 2 years sliding into bed with me after. Being with him, my hands were shaking. I could hear blood rushing through my ears, a deafening boom that blotted out everything else. Jessica then added the final nail to the coffin. "Oh, don't be so astonished," she scoffed. "Honestly, I was growing bored with you. I can't remember relocating. I don't recall deciding to relocate. All I remember is Rick's arm crashing against my chest, stopping me as I lunged for Mark, wild with wrath. Jessica yelped and jumped out of the path. However, Mark did not even flinch. He simply remained there, his jaw clenched, watching me struggle against Rick's grip. "Not here." Rick snarled into my ear. "Not in a freaking doctor's office." I was breathing like a rabid beast. It took every ounce of my strength not to rip Mark apart. Mark did something that I'll never forget. He turned to Jessica and smiled softly, knowingly, intimately, like they were exchanging a secret right in front of me and none of us mattered. Mark's smile was faint, scarcely visible, but I noticed it, and as soon as I did, something inside me fractured. I ceased straining against Rick's grip. I stopped breathing so hard, I paused everything, because that smile told me something. Even worse than the falsehoods, worse than the cheating, Mark was not afraid. He was not ashamed. He wasn't apologizing. He had already won. Mentally, Jessica turned to him, arms still folded, and gave him a look. Not one based on guilt, not one of remorse, but one of sheer enjoyment. As if we were all having a meltdown over nothing, I took a slow step back. Rick let go of me, still keeping an eye on things, probably wondering if I was going to attack again. But I did not. Instead, I surprised myself. I gave a short, breathless laugh, the kind that escapes when your body can't decide whether to scream or collapse completely. Jessica raised her eyebrow. "Oh, great. Here we go. Now he's going insane." I ignored her. I just looked at Mark, my hands still shaking, but my voice strangely calm. "You know what, man?" I said. "You actually did me a favor." Mark blinked. "What?" I gave another low chuckle and shook my head. "You were the entire thing. You just delivered me the most powerful wake-up call of my life." Jessica moaned loudly. "Oh, here comes the self-righteous rant, Rick." Turned to her so quickly that she flinched. "Shut your mouth." His voice was pure steel. She did for once. I looked back at Mark. "You stand there as if you've just won a prize. As if you had just outplayed me. Like this is a damn victory." Mark did not answer, but the spark of something in his eyes indicated that I had struck just where I wanted to. I took a step closer, my voice becoming lower. "But let me tell you something. Mark, you did not win. You've inherited a nightmare." Jessica scoffed. "Oh, please." I ignored her. "She is now your problem." I told him she lied, cheated, was manipulative, and selfish. Gaslighting.
Asterisk, 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 bullshit, and deceit. It's all yours.
"Buddy." Mark's jaw clenched. Jessica laughed. "You're so pathetic," she said, seriously standing here acting like a tragic hero when you were the world's most boring husband. News flash. If you hadn't been so predictable, I might not have had to search elsewhere, Rick actually hissed beneath his breath. But I did not respond. I simply grinned. Since I had one more card to play, I returned my attention to Mark, lowering my voice so that only he could hear. "Oh, by the way," I whispered, "I also know about the other guy." Mark's whole face altered. His expression froze. His lips separated slightly. His eyes flashed to Jessica for a few seconds, and that reaction told me everything. Jessica's arrogant grin faded. "What?" I slowly exhaled, savoring the solitude. Maybe you weren't the only one after all. Mark. Mark turned to face Jessica. Jessica glanced at me, and for the first time since the beginning, she appeared nervous. Jessica lost control for the first time during this crisis. Her confidence slipped briefly, but it remained. She pulled her expression back into indifference after a moment of doubt and panic. Mark, albeit not very effective at disguising it, was undone. His entire face drained of color, his jaw stiffened, and his eyes were fixed on Jessica as if he was seeing her for the first time. What the hell is he talking about? His voice low, almost hollow. Jessica gave a sharp, forced laugh. Oh, please. Do not be stupid. He's only messing with you. I folded my arms and watched the crack spread. I'm messing with him. I repeated, Are you sure about it, Jess? She turned to me, her gaze narrowing. Dare me. I smirked. Ask her where she was on May 14th. Her face plummeted. Mark returned to her instantly. What happened on May 14th? His voice was tighter now. Jessica scoffed. Oh my God. Do not tell me you're really listening to this. Answer the question. Mark's voice boomed through the corridor. Jessica's mouth jerked shut. Finally, silence. She hesitated for too long. Far too long, Mark. Took a step back. The realization sank in. He had assumed he was the one pulling the strings. He felt he'd won everything he'd taken Jessica away from me, but now he saw what I had just figured out. Jessica wasn't a prize. She was a walking disaster. A liar so entangled in her own web that not even her side piece was safe. I decided to help him out. Allow me to refresh your memory. I said casually, it was the weekend she informed me she was visiting her cousin in Chicago, before landing the final punch. I took a moment to process, but guess what? Mark, she was not in Chicago. Jessica's entire body became tense. Mark took another step back, shaking his head. No, he murmured. No, it's not. ... Go ahead. I interrupted. Inquire where she actually was. Inquire about her true relationship. Jessica's gaze shifted to mine, and for the first time I noticed it. Fear, pure, genuine. Cornered animal dread. And it felt great. Mark was staring at her, his breathing erratic, pleading for her to say, anything. Jessica's mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. And I swear, I saw the exact moment she understood there was no way out. Her posture shifted. Her expression went blank, and she did the most Jessica thing possible. She shrugged. So, what, 3 small words? That was it? That was all she needed to say. Mark appeared as if he'd been stabbed. Linda gasped behind us. Rick ran a palm down his face, as if he was about to throw up. And me, I merely let out a low giggle, because this was stunning. Mark betrayed me. Jessica betrayed me. And now they were both drowning on the same sinking vessel. Jessica sighed, as if this was inconvenient for her. Look, this isn't a huge deal. You were all acting like children. I had fun, okay? That's all it was. It did not signify anything. Mark physically recoiled. It did not signify anything. Jessica rolled her eyes. Oh, don't start. Mark's hands curled into fists. You said you loved me. Jessica snorted. Oh my God, you really believe that? Silence, pure, awful quiet. Mark's whole face crumpled, and just like that, he realized he wasn't special. He wasn't different. He was just another guy she used and dismissed, just like me. Jessica sighed as she raised her arms above her head. God, it's been exhausting. Are we finished here? Rick exhaled slowly, sharply. You are the most repulsive. Selfish little Jessica snapped her fingers at her father. Save the lecture. Dad, I'm not interested. I turned to Mark, who still appeared to have been run over by a truck. Softly, I murmured, Congratulations. Buddy, she's entirely yours. Then I turned to walk away. I did not glance back. I did not need to. Behind me, I could hear Jessica scoff. Mark breathed like he was struggling not to lose it. Rick muttered curses under his breath, but none of that mattered now. I had an answer. Jessica wasn't simply a liar. She wasn't simply a cheater. She was proud of it. That is the part that made my stomach turn. She acted as if all of this was a minor inconvenience, as if we were the problem for caring after she had won. I got halfway down the corridor when I heard footsteps behind me. Didn't have to turn around to see who it was. Mark Hay. His voice shook, but he tried to sound tough, as if he still had control over something. We aren't done here. I paused, took a long breath, then turned. Mark stood there, shoulders tensed, fists clenched at his sides, as if challenging me to do something. He seemed upset at me for exposing the truth. Stared at him for a long time, then I laughed. I laughed directly in his face. That made him even angrier. Do you think this is funny? He snapped. Do you believe this is a joke? I brushed it off, still grinning. Buddy, you're standing there looking like you're about to punch me, despite the fact that I just gave you the biggest favor of your life. Mark's jaws constricted. Screw you. I moved closer. No, screw you. He flinched. Only a little, but I caught it. Are you furious at me? I spoke quietly. For what? For wrecking your tiny fantasy? For reminding you that you are not some alpha male who swooped in and took another man's wife? You are simply the next idiot on her list. His nostrils flared. Say nothing. I smiled. Make me. He took a half step forward, and I thought he was about to swing, but behind him, Jessica called out, "Oh my God, are you still attempting to fight for me?" Both of us turned. Jessica was leaning against the wall, arms folded, looking very bored. Boys, 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 she shook her head. This is truly pathetic. Mark looked at her, expression unreadable. You lied to me. His voice was quieter now. Jessica shrugged. Yeah. Mark blinked. She gave a dramatic sigh. Oh, grow up. We had fun, didn't we? Mark's face twisted. I was in love with you. Jessica twisted her lips into a grin. That seems like a you problem. That? Was it? That was when Mark finally broke. His whole body tightened in an instant. His expression changed, from hurt to wrath. And just like that, Jessica lost him. I could see it in his eyes. Mark had spent 2 years believing he had won a game, that he had stolen something from me, that he was exceptional. But now he realized he was nothing to her, just another useful idiot. I patted his shoulder. Tough break. Man, then I turned back to Jessica. I'll be home later to retrieve my belongings. Jessica rolled her eyes again. Fine, just don't touch my things. Mark glanced at her as if he hadn't seen her before, and me. I grinned, because for the first time in 2 years, I felt terrifyingly clear. I left that clinic with a clear mind. Jessica was dead to me. Mark, irrelevant. But there was still one more thing to do. I was not going to leave quietly when I arrived home. Jessica had already locked herself in the bedroom. Good. I didn't need to speak to her. I needed to prepare. I sat on the couch, took out my phone, and began working screenshots, emails, bank statements, every single piece of proof I had. Because here's the deal. I wasn't simply leaving. I was about to destroy her. She believed she was untouchable, that she could do whatever she pleased and walk away with no consequences. She was about to discover. Otherwise, the next morning, I got up early. Jessica finally arrived downstairs, yawning. Dressed in an old t-shirt, I nearly laughed. That act was no longer effective. She observed me by the table. Laptop. Open papers and files spread out inside. Oh, God, are you really still being emotional about this? I looked up at her .com, unshaken. I've already filed for divorce. She blinked for a second, then she snorted. Oh, please, as if you had the guts. I I slid the folder across the table. She looked down and suddenly froze, because on top of that pile of documents was proof of everything: her affair with Mark, her spending patterns, bank transfers to a hotel she claimed she'd never visited, and a prenuptial agreement she'd signed when we got married, as if nothing mattered. It did. Jessica's face became pale. "What's this?" I leaned back and stretched my arms. "This." "Oh, just some fun little documents stating that you will receive nothing." Her jaw clenched. "That's not right." "Oh, by the way," interrupted, reaching for my phone, "I've already emailed copies to your father." Jessica's eyes widened. "You're lying." I smirked. "Check your messages." She snatched her phone from the counter, fingers shaking as she opened her texts. I witnessed the exact moment she saw it. Rick had already replied, "You disgust me. You are no daughter of mine anymore." Jessica staggered back. She glanced at me for the first time. She truly appeared scared. "You're ruining my life." I smiled. "No." "Jessica, you accomplished that yourself." She opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, the front door burst open. Mark stood there, his eyes glowing with rage. Jessica gasped, "What are you doing here?" Mark raced forward, throwing something on the table, a crumpled envelope. Jessica hesitated, then picked it up and ripped it open. Her gaze swept across the paper, then her whole body went still. She looked up at Mark with horror. "You played me," Mark's voice was dangerously low. Jessica gulped hard. "Mark, you made me believe I was the father." My eyebrows rose. "Oh." I glanced to Jessica, grin widening. "Wait a minute, he's not the father?" Jessica's hands were shaking. Mark slammed his fist on the table. "Who is it?" Jessica didn't respond, because now she wasn't sure who had control anymore. For the first time in her unhappy, selfish life, she felt absolutely powerless. Jessica stood there, clutching the test results silently. Mark's breathing was ragged, his face flushed with rage. Waiting for a response, I leaned back in my chair, arms folded to watch the show. "You lied to me," Mark said. "You swore it was mine." Jessica eventually snapped out of it. She shook her head quickly, trying to regain control. "Mark, please listen. Who's the father?" He roared. She flinched. Then she did what she always did. She lied. "It is yours." Stammered. "The exam must be incorrect." "Will, take another one." Mark's whole body stiffened. And that's when I noticed it. The exact moment when he realized Jessica wasn't merely a cheater. She wasn't just selfish. She was a dark hole, twisting everyone who came too close, draining them until nothing remained. Mark took a step back, his breathing evened, his expression changed, not angry, not even hurt anymore, just cold. "I gave everything up for you," he said quietly. Jessica froze. "I ended my relationship for you. I ruined my friendships for 2 years. I thought you loved me. I nearly lost my job for you, and you knew. You knew all along it wasn't mine." Jessica's mouth jerked shut because she realized she was out of options. Mark took another step back. Then he gave a harsh laugh. "Wow, I believed I'd stolen you from him. I believed I'd won." He turned to me. Our gazes met. "I believed I had one," he admitted. I smirked. "How did that work out for you?" Mark breathed sharply, then turned back to Jessica. "I regret everything." Jessica flinched, as if he'd hit her. For once in her life, she had no retort, no gaslighting, no fake tears, nothing. Mark shook his head. "We're finished." Jessica's face collapsed. "Wait." He ignored her, turned on his heel, and without looking back he left. Just like that, Jessica panicked. She lunged forward, as if to chase him. But I reached out and grabbed her wrist firmly. I was shaking. She turned to me with wild eyes. I smiled. You now have no one. Her mouth opened and closed, but she had no words. House of cards she built had collapsed completely, and so had I. I was free. Jessica stood still, her wrist still in my hand, her breathing unsteady. For the first time since this nightmare began, she was not in control. No lies, no gaslighting, no fake tears could get her out of this. Just silence. I let go of her wrist. Slowly, she took a step back, blinking rapidly as if trying to understand how everything went so wrong. Mark was gone. Rick had disowned her, and now I was leaving too. I took a deep breath, exhaled slowly, then I spoke. You lied to me for 2 years. 2 years of sneaking around. 2 years of laughing behind my back while I trusted you. She swallowed. I leaned in slightly, lowered my voice. I want you to feel it. I want you to remember this moment, because this is the moment you discover you're not special. You're not untouchable. You're not some master manipulator who can use people and walk away without consequences. Her bottom lip quivered, not in sadness, but in rage. Good. She deserved to burn in it. Asterisk, I am leaving. I'm taking my dignity, my money, and my future with me. Her eyes flared, revealing the real Jessica, pure wrath. Do you think you're better than me? She snapped. You're a sad loser. You never satisfied me. You were lucky I even stayed as long as I did. I grinned, calm and steady. And yet, I said, tilting my head, I'm the one walking away with everything, and you have nothing. Jessica's face cracked, pure, unmasked rage. I didn't stay to hear the next excuse, accusation, or plea. I picked up my suitcase and walked out the door. The following several weeks were a blur. Moved out, changed my phone number, blocked her from everything. Jessica tried. Oh, she tried to reach out, Vomos, emails even showing up at my workplace. But I ignored every attempt because I was finished, and for the first time in years, I felt liberated. A month later, I received one final update. Mark had left the state completely. Disappeared. Jessica. She was losing control. She lost her job after a screaming match with her boss. Word spread Linda stopped speaking to her. Rick refused to acknowledge her existence. And me. I was happier than ever, because I had finally learned the most important lesson of all. Some people do not deserve closure. They deserve to be left where they destroyed themselves. And that is exactly what I did.
Thanks for watching. What do you think about how everything unfolded? Did he go too far, or not far enough? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy real stories about relationships, betrayal, and karma, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. More stories are on the way soon.